Hey guys, how's it going? My name is Mason or Unique Geese, and I came to the realization that I haven't posted anything about Poppy Chapter 4 yet, and the game comes out next week. As you guys know, it's kind of tradition here on the channel to break down and talk about different game trailers and stuff that's coming out, but as you guys also might know, I've been a little bit preoccupied with a little project called Indigo Park. It's my own indie horror game. I've been dealing with the Kickstarter stuff for it. I've been dealing with all kinds of meetings, getting progress on Chapter 2 going. It's been busy, but I thought today would be a great time to talk about Poppy Chapter 4, go through all the trailers and kind of tell you guys what I'm thinking is going to go on with the chapter and like my opinions on stuff, because as you can see here in 60 seconds we're getting the first gameplay trailer and the game comes out in like 5 days, so seems like a good time to talk about it. I want to start by talking about the thumbnail for this trailer, because we're going to start with this trailer and then kind of work our way back. The trailer and what they've been advertising, you can see in the description, is a brand new ally joins you. This implies that there's a new friendly character that's going to be helping us through the chapter, and I've seen a lot of people talk about this thumbnail. I think there's a couple ways that it could go. Some people are arguing that, oh, this is Daddy Longlegs. Maybe. If you look at the Project Playtime skin for Mommy Longlegs, it uses Daddy Longlegs. The texturing here on the hand seems kind of similar. You might be able to see the glove. Maybe. I think that's a possibility that Daddy Longlegs could be here. The way that he's holding Huggy here is kind of similar to the way that Mommy would hold Huggy in the previous trailers and advertising pieces. To me though, there's one character that we have no information about, and that is Doey the Dough Man. If you guys look into the trademarks and business information about Mob Entertainment, you'll know that most of the stuff that they've announced for Chapter 3, we've known since like January of last year. The names of the nightmare critters were all publicized. I don't think Pianosaurus was, but Dr. Harvey Sawyer, I'm not 100% caught up on all the Poppy Playtime lore, but Screen Man, his name was revealed early, and there is a character called Doey the Dough Man. So I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility to say this is like a character made out of Play-Doh that's going to be helping us. Looks like the trailer is about ready to start. As you can see from the time and the fact that we're waiting, I'm making that prediction early. I feel like this is either Daddy Longlegs or Doey the Dough Man, which I'm kind of hoping it's Doey the Dough Man, because like a character that's animated to look like stop motion Play-Doh might be kind of sick. We have a lot to talk about with this chapter. Again, I need to play catch up and kind of give you guys my opinion on all of this, but yeah, we're gonna start with this trailer and see where it goes. All right, here we go. We're here for the premiere. I'm excited to see what the gameplay looks like for this chapter, and we'll go through and break it all down and talk about it. Let's see what happens. Okay, I just called Dough Man. I just called the Dough Man. I just called it. I literally, okay, I promise you I did not like, this is not edited to look like I knew ahead of time. Like, that was just my thought, is that we're gonna get whatever the Dough Man character looks like.
Down here, it's not like anything you've seen above. It's hell.
Okay, this environment looks good.
And Playtime wanted it to be.
That almost seemed kind of like a fighting arena or something.
Now what's this?
They call him the Doctor.
That's a new character voice.
Prototype. Commands everything down here. Hunting us. Starving us.
There are no places you can hide.
Okay, Yarnaby looks great.
Not from me.
I've got something special and more.
I need to make this right.
Oh, please don't have sleeping angel mechanics. Okay, so we saw the nightmare critters. Okay. Pianosaurus.
I failed you.
You lied to me!
Yeah, that's gonna be cool.
Hiya there, pal. Follow me.
Yeah, that's our Doey. That's our Doey. Okay, cool. So I was able to call that from the thing. Now, to be fair, again, like that's kind of like a semi-leak because mobs posted about it. Looks like it's still on track to be released in 5 days. So again, we'll be live the second it comes out, playing through chapter 4, same way that we did for chapter 3. But let's kind of go through and break down what all we got here. So we kind of got like, kind of sounds like, oh, okay, the music for this character. I've noticed that they're doing a lot more like musical additions to the characters. We know that Pianosaurus has one, which I'll pull this up because we're gonna have to talk about all of Poppy here, because I am way behind. So I think it was Black Griffin that they commissioned to do the Pianosaurus jingle here. For a little advertisement or whatever, which is fun. I think that's cute, and I'm really excited to see more, and we'll talk about him in the trailers. Pianosaurus did briefly pop up here in the trailer, which is exciting. Oh, look at that, so fun. So he plays a little bit. You guys have seen this already, I'm sure everyone here is like, okay, please get on with the actual trailer. But we know that Pianosaurus has a jingle. We know now that our Dough Man has the jingle, and we also know that Yarnaby has a jingle. And the way that we know that Yarnaby has a jingle, or at least a song or something, is I quote retweeted the gameplay screenshots that came out yesterday and just said, I like Yarnaby a lot more because he's just kind of a silly, stupid dog that chases you around, and I kind of fuck with that. Black Griffin, who wrote the Pianosaurus theme, says you'll like his song too, I hope. Meaning that we're going to get songs for Pianosaurus, we're gonna get songs for Doey the Dough Man, and we're gonna get songs for Yarnaby, all in the next chapter. So that's interesting to know. One thing, like, and we'll get more into my like personal opinions of the chapter coming up. I feel like they're trying to do a lot. Like, this chapter had about a year of development time, with a lot of the staff leaving or being kicked off the team, and I feel like this is a lot of stuff. I think it's going to be really good. I'm very optimistic, and we'll get into that here in a minute, but I feel like there is a lot of characters here in this next chapter, and I'm pretty excited to see how they work all together. So obviously I don't think this is gameplay. I think this is like a pre-rendered cutscene of the character being animated. Yeah, you can hear him talking about like color or whatever. The dough's like falling down. So yeah, Poppy being like, oh, you're in hell now, whatever. It's kind of hard to see in the screenshot, and we can take screenshots and brighten them up, I suppose. I guess that's my job. This does read as like a very industrial area, seemingly a little bit different from the industrial areas we saw in chapter 3. This one does feel a little bit more like menacing. I'm not really sure how to describe that. Okay, so brightening up this image a little bit, it's pretty easy to see that there's like some kind of like, I don't know what these are, like locks or cameras or something on these doors. That's something that we might want to take into account. That could be related to the doctor and all the stuff they're doing with him. We keep seeing this symbol, the square symbol. I'm not sure what this means. I know it's appeared multiple times like in the Poppy Playtime ARGs and stuff. If you guys know anything about it, please leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear all the information you guys have on that, especially going into the chapter itself. Moving forward, we have what I can only describe as like, this feels like an arena. It feels like a coliseum. Like they would be like, we're gonna put you down here and then we're gonna release Yarnaby to fight you or whatever. I'm not really sure. You see some dripping water. I'm not really sure. It's strange though, because you have like a little hopscotch thing down here. So I don't know. It's weird when we're talking about a children's facility that like just keeps getting deeper. You know what I'm saying? Like there isn't just like one base layer, like, oh, now you're in the dark pits of the factory. It's like, okay, so you go a little bit deeper, there's like an orphanage down here, and then you go a little bit deeper, and like now you're in a hellscape. Like there's a lot going on in the Poppy universe, so it's kind of hard to tell exactly what this is. It still reads as like dark factory, but then you have like a hopscotch thing set up, so you're like, okay, that implies that children frequent this area. I really don't know. So I can't really tell. That might be Yarnaby. It's not really moving, but it does look like yarn. So okay, then we have I'm gonna look up the name. is it Dr. Harley Sawyer or Dr. Harvey Sawyer? Dr. Harley Sawyer. Okay. I'm not super familiar with the lore. From my understanding, I guess Dr. Harley Sawyer is like one of the main people at Poppy Playtime that were pushing for the Bigger Body Initiative. Again, I'm not 100% positive on that, so you can correct me and explain the lore down below, and I'll try to read the comments. But seems to be kind of an all-knowing, omnipresent figure that's going to be following you around the factory. Again, just because it's my own franchise, I'm going to draw the conclusion here, but it kind of gives Rambly vibes, not like in a bad or like in a, oh my god, they're copying me way, but like in a character that's going to be popping up to interact with you around the chapter. This one's obviously being more of a posing threat. You'll see here in a bit, like he has his body form and seems to have other bodies that he can jump to, but he does seem to exist within a digital space. Another trademark that Mob Entertainment put through was the Playtime automated companion. And again, I don't know all the lore. From my understanding, I think this name has been brought up as like a computer system that helped operate the factory and the facility. It could be that he's using and communicating to you through the Poppy Playtime automated companion system. I'm not 100% sure. I don't really know how that's going to look in gameplay and stuff. If you want my honest opinion, it'll probably be him like popping up on screens to say some intimidating stuff before something goes down. I don't really know though. I do like the look of the eye. The eye is a cool thing. There's that logo again with the squares.
They call him the Doctor.
So we can now kind of tell that this voice is Doey the Dough Man. We got some screens here.
Commands everything down here.
There's the Yarnaby, kind of like in like an employee break room kind of area from the looks of it. Okay.
There are no places you can hide.
I do love Yarnaby. I'm sorry, Yarnaby is awesome. A lot of people were theorizing based off of these screenshots we got yesterday, which I guess I can talk about now because it's just kind of more of what we got today in the trailer, that Yarnaby seems to be kind of like a free roaming AI. That basically means that it's a character similar to, I would liken it to if you've played Security Breach, the characters that kind of walk around a bit. Or a good one is Resident Evil. You have the characters that are just kind of like patrolling an environment. You have to kind of hide and like navigate around them. That's the vibes I'm getting here. That seems pretty self-explanatory and pretty basic, but for the Poppy Playtime series, this is the first time that we're actually seeing AI that's like that in comparison to just a straight chase. If you think about it, for the majority of time when you're playing Poppy Playtime, it's like, oh, something happens, you run. That's kind of the formula that they normally follow. Even like, if you think like Miss Delight in Chapter 3, who technically that was a chase, but she did have her own free roaming AI. And in theory, if you kept like looping her around, there was no penalty to staying in that area for an extended period of time. So that's kind of a bit of what we're getting into. I think that Yarnaby is going to be a lot more free roaming. If you want my honest opinion, I think we're going to have moments where you have this, so you're kind of sneaking around him. He has the mouth closed. If he sees you, I think he's going to open up the mouth and he's going to charge forward at you kind of like a bowl or something. And that's whenever you're going to get shots like this. And I imagine video game logic, character goes forward, goes a little bit farther than he should. You're able to move and kind of re-navigate. And if he loses track of you, he goes back into his passive form. That's the way that I perceive it. You can let me know if you think anything differently there. So this is Harley Sawyer here. Again, he's got other like bodies that I'm assuming he could probably jump to. This probably means that there's a good chance we watch his original body like die or fall apart at the beginning of the chapter, and then he comes back in another one. My light predictions. I don't know. Again, animation is always fire in these games. Even with the more limited time that they've had to work on this one, animation's fire. I like that shot a lot. I like his little wave. This feels like earlier in the chapter than you would expect. Or it's at the end of the chapter, who knows? This shot here, and I'm praying to everything good and holy that we're not getting another Weeping Angel segment. I've been playing a lot of games lately, like over on Twitch. And as you guys know, my least favorite like trope in horror games is a character that whenever you look away, it moves. This right here, this pose and this look reads like something like that, just because it literally looks like the endos in Security Breach. Okay, John, sorry, I'm stealing your video so I can show gameplay. Sorry, buddy. Man, he had a different haircut here. This was when Security Breach first came out. You'll see here the endos are not moving when he's looking at them. He's kind of rushing through here, so it's not really a great display of the mechanics. But you can see that they're moving whenever you don't have view on them. Same with like Mistalight in chapter 3. It's a character that like, oh, you have to keep turning around to look at him. I don't think that's going to be the case, but I will say this pose seems to suggest that, and the way that the camera keeps focus on this, it does kind of feel like maybe a more advanced Weeping Angel. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. And so now we actually do have the nightmare critters in their forms that you saw the smiling critters. This does seem to be using the same framework as the smiling critters, like the swappable blueprint system, which I don't know if you guys have, do people know about that? That's pretty cool. My buddy James Pelter worked on Poppy Playtime chapter 3. He put this out on ArtStation. This is basically an explanation of how the materials and contents of the smiling critters work in chapter 3, where it's basically just a bunch of swappable parts that can all be handled in engine and swapped out, and then they just have color palettes that switch out for one material, which is really cool because it's super conservative of space and resources, and you can just swap out stuff, and so you get like all these variations. So to me it does kind of read like, oh, they're probably using the same or a similar system, I hope. We have Icky, we got that's Simon back there. What's interesting here though, and what I guess I didn't see on my first playthrough, we have the mini Huggies. The mini Huggies are here. This is something that we've seen a lot in like different Poppy media. We have, you know, the colored like semi mini Huggies that were in chapter 2. If you played any of the Roblox games, the mini Huggies are like on the ground and used as like a sound notification for the monster character. There was, I think there were mini Huggies in Project Playtime as well, because if you played Huggy, you could drop the mini Huggies and it would like notify that a player is somewhere. The mini Huggies are definitely something that is in universe and they are clearly alive. And I guess it's weird that they're like in with the smile or with the nightmare critters. Like they're just another nightmare critter, which is interesting. Looks like we have bodies here, which is interesting. Just straight up corpses. That's interesting. I feel like there has to be something up with those corpses, because especially these little guys, their entire thing is like, oh, we got so hungry that we have to eat each other. So realistically, there wouldn't be corpses anywhere down here unless it's something like really sealed off. Which is interesting. I guess I missed some stuff here. I wanted to rewind to the corpses. Yeah. So I don't know. I really don't know where that's at. That they might not even be real corpses. Who knows? There's like a vault back here. I'm not really sure. Does that have the same logo as the? That might have the same logo. Yeah. You can't really see. But it does kind of look like, oh, maybe this is the same logo that we've been seeing everywhere. So this might be like near the end. Like maybe this is like the big secret or whatever. It's interesting though, because we're seeing more of like the playground material from chapter 3. So that implies that this is like a children's play area. Interesting. So then we get a shot of Pianosaurus running up on you. This looks kind of like a pre-rendered cutscene. I'm not positive. I don't know. I don't really know how Pianosaurus is going to work either. I'm excited about it though. Was that like a body bag that was hanging? Yeah, there must be like an area that like none of the toys can get to, because it seemingly has a lot of bodies. Although I will say the Play-Doh's down here. That was a big Baba, right? Is that not a giant ass? I mean, even from that distance, is that not like a giant Baba? It's not stylized like a bigger body. Okay, there's the Yarnaby kind of chasing after you. That one seems less chargy, so maybe I'm wrong. That seems to be where they got the screenshot as well. I do like the simulation of the yarn. That's pretty cool. Interesting. So we got all the screens. Okay. And then this is definitely pre-rendered. I doubt this is in game. But I do love how they tried to capture the claymation look. When I saw the name Doey the Dough Man, I was really hoping it'd be like claymation. And it seems pretty close. Now, the way he talks, it definitely seems like he might be evil later in the chapter. Like, he definitely reads as like... like the way he gets serious. Yeah, I don't know. To me, that reads as like, yeah, he might be pretty evil. But it is pretty cool that we're seeing a good variation of characters here, because I think there's a lot of exciting things you can do with like the idea of living toys. And I've been saying this, I think something like stop motion would be really cool. Obviously, this is like simulated stop motion, just like in the way that it's animated, but it's gonna be cool. If it looks like this in game, that's gonna be pretty sick. I'm actually really excited about Doey. So yeah, that was the chapter 4 trailer. They kind of rocked that shit. I think they already swapped out the thumbnail to show, Mr. Dough Man there. That's exciting. That's really exciting, dude. Really quickly, and they probably swapped it out on Steam too. I wonder if Doey is like their main guy in the end, because I had a feeling like all the stuff that they've been I've had a feeling that all the stuff that they've been showing is kind of more like side content, but I kind of feel like, yeah, I mean, now that the game's coming out in 5 days and this is their Steam image, I feel like Doey is kind of our big main character for this chapter, and they're just kind of holding off. Really excited to play this. Again, it's coming out in 4 days, really 5. I am gonna ask around to everyone I know at Mob and see if we can get an exact time, but I will be trying to play it the second it comes out. If that means that I have to be live at like 2 in the morning and just waiting for it to come out, replaying chapters 1, 2, and 3, so be it, because I want to be live when it comes out. That's kind of my philosophy with these games that I feel really passionately about. And you know, I want to make sure that we're covering it as quick as we can. I get to experience it live with you guys, that kind of stuff. But let's kind of briefly go through the rest of the stuff that we've had on chapter 4. I've done a couple streams going through these, but I don't think I've ever actually gotten a video up, so I kind of want to give my thoughts on some of the other stuff. Obviously, the big thing that we got initially was the reveal of Baba. Baba was like kind of the first thing that we got for chapter 4. So you got this shot where Dog Day is just kind of crawling through a bunch of the broken plushies. And then you guys have seen this, Baba kind of jumps out, eats him, which is interesting because like you got the piles of toys, you got the logo here. But I mean, maybe it's just me. I don't feel like the nightmare critters are going to be that big of a part of it. You know what I'm saying? So I think there was a bunch of outcry whenever they first announced chapter 4, because end of the day, like they were doing the same thing with the smiling critters, where they were like slowly showing off every nightmare critter. And I think a lot of people kind of took that as lazy. I think a lot of people kind of perceived that as like, oh, they're just kind of recycling the smiling critters because the smiling critters are really popular. So I'm interested to see what exactly the nightmare critters are going to do besides being just like a little plush form that's on the ground in this like hellscape that they're trying to paint. To me, it seems kind of strange that at least in the trailer, like we didn't see any Catbee, we didn't see any Brawn, we didn't see any Cap or Boogie Bot, we didn't see any, I think there's some PJ Pugapillars in there, yeah. We didn't see any of the regular smiling critters, which are also up in here. Like it was just the nightmare critters and the small huggies. So for some reason, lore implication wise, the living smiling critters aren't in this area. It's just the nightmare critters, which I find kind of interesting. Also, Mob, what the hell? No Catbee content for 4 chapters, unless they have something hidden. What the hell happened to Catbee, dude? I like literally, if you like, I've gone back and I've looked at my first times playing like chapter 1, and I'm like, oh my God, I love Catbee. And I've been hoping for like a Catbee monster or more Catbee content, and Catbee just doesn't exist besides like these weird moments in trailers or like being like stabbed in chapter 3. And it's like, give me some Catbee content, dude. You're introducing all these new characters. Give me some Catbee. Give me some Catbee merch. I want the Catbee plush, bro. So that's intriguing to say the least. There of course was the reveal of Yarnaby, which this one is interesting. From what I understand, this is like not necessarily an environment directly from the game. You do have a new kind of scanner on the right here. This does look different from anything that we've seen the hands operate previously. So intrigued by that, to say the least. Definitely more of a cave environment. We see that they're piping in the gas from chapter 3, which kind of tells me, like, yeah, realistically, we're probably gonna have some more like dream sequences, even though Catnap is dead. Probably see the return of that in the next chapter. Again, you got the cameras watching. That's probably Harley Sawyer. And you see what's presumed to be like an employee or the character walk up, see the logo again. I don't know the full meaning of the logo, but it seems to be important. And he seems to be on this monitor kind of watching you. There's a dead something on there. One of the smiling critters, presumably kind of purple. Maybe it's a catnap. What this kind of reads as, and I don't know how, because this is like a cinematic trailer announcing Yarnaby, I don't know how accurate this is going to be. But this kind of reads as Sawyer being like a security camera system. So in theory, in my head, the eyes completely open, so he's like out looking for you. You're near, so it starts squinting. That's kind of like your Skyrim, like, oh, who's there? And then red is activated, which means that like a monster is going to come to you to try to kill you in that moment. So you got caught, hide from the monster is kind of what that reads from like a gameplay perspective. I don't know how accurate that is to, you know, being a pre-rendered cutscene, but you know, I guess you never know. You got what seems to be like probably his song with Bit Crushed, and then of course he sees you, so he's gonna eat you, which is fun. I like Yarnaby a lot. I think Yarnaby's sick. What else do we got? We had the Doctor trailer, which is intriguing to me. Seems to be from the perspective of Sawyer kind of like talking through his own mind after being put into this digital system or whatever, and then realizing I have more power than they probably think, being able to kind of override and control the facility. Again, I hope they do some really cool stuff with this. It's kind of a case where like in our heads we're like, oh, you know, like that's semi-similar to what we're trying to do with Rambly. This definitely has a lot more of a menacing take than Rambly, who's just trying to help you through the facility. This one seems more like I'm going to manipulate the environment. I'm going to bring monsters to you to fuck you over. But I don't know. He also just looks fed up here, which is awesome. But yeah, I think there's a lot. I think there's a lot of really cool stuff that we're going to get to see through this. I am genuinely so excited for chapter 4. Again, if you want my personal hot take opinion on this stuff, I know a lot of people who have left Mob for one reason or another, or a lot of people who have been laid off from the company, and that's just kind of the reality of business, especially when you're operating at the size that Mob is, where it's like a giant company compared to like, say, like our dev team, which is just like a bunch of friends working on a game together. And the reality of that is like sometimes you have to make cuts where you have to make them. People will leave just for whatever reason they see fit for leaving the company. But when it comes to like a game and having like a year dev time here, I feel like we are just coming off of chapter 3. The problem is that chapter 3 blew people out of the water. Like people came back to Poppy and said like chapter 3 made me love Poppy Playtime, because it is genuinely just an awesome horror experience with really fleshed out environments and cool characters and like a dynamic story that kind of grows as you're playing it. I think chapter 3 is like really, really good. Now, living up to those standards, I think that they're going to be able to do it. I have a lot of faith that with the scale that Poppy is at and the way that they show themselves off and the amount of new characters, I think chapter 4 is going to be really, really good. I would be lying though if I said that it isn't concerning that you have a bunch of people leaving the team and then you have your shortest turnaround time for a chapter yet. So I think there's going to be a lot of people within the game industry, within the mascot horror scene, who are going to have their eyes on this to say like, hey, you know, like what are they going to cook up? And I kind of relate to that pressure to an extent. But this, I genuinely think this could be a really good turning point or kind of a negative turning point for Mob Entertainment, depending on how well this chapter turns out. If this ends up being just kind of like, whatever, I think a lot of people are going to have a different perspective on Poppy just because it was their shortest turnaround time. But if this ends up being like really cool and like a major step up from chapter 3, which, I mean, I think Doey the Dough Man himself is going to have enough to do that. I think we're going to see an uptake in people being like, yeah, Poppy is freaking awesome. So regardless, Poppy is one of the series that I've been following for a very long time. Say what you want about Mob as a company, but I will genuinely keep supporting the project because I think there's a lot of people on the team who are really, really good people who are doing really good work. I'm excited to see where stuff goes. So leave your comments down below. What's your opinion on stuff? I apologize for the lack of videos. I've clearly just been very busy working on Indigo Park stuff, and it's been stressing me out a ton. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it, and I'll see you guys on Thursday. Is it Thursday that it comes out? Yeah, I'll see you guys like Wednesday night or Thursday for Poppy Chapter 4.